Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. How are you all students? Today we will start our first lecture of grade 9th of chemistry. The chapter name is Fundamentals of Chemistry and the topic name is Elements, Compound and Mixture. First have a look at elements and compounds. An element is a pure substance which cannot be split up into other simpler substances by any ordinary physical or chemical processes. For example, gold is an element and it can never be converted into any other simpler substance by ordinary physical or chemical reactions. Gold is only made up of atoms. The four ancient elements are earth, air, fire, and water. There are currently 118 elements, out of which 88 of them are naturally occurring according to the old periodic table. According to the new periodic table, the 92 elements are naturally occurring elements while the rest have been artificially prepared in the laboratory. Elements are made up of particles. An atom is the smallest particle of an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. Each element consists of only one kind of atoms. Atoms of a particular element are same to each other but different from the atoms of other elements. Elements are the simplest pure substances. They cannot be broken down into simpler substances without losing their identity. How many elements are present in the universe? In our universe, hydrogen makes up 75% of all the matter. Helium makes us about 20% with oxygen being the third most abundant element. Helium is used in the processes that are more energy absorbing and more energy releasing. For example, nuclear fusion, nuclear fission, etc. All of the other elements are relatively rare in the universe. How many elements are present in the Earth's crust? In the Earth's crust, oxygen is the most abundant element, about 46.6%. Silicon is the second most abundant element, about 27.7%. Aluminium is about 8.1%. Iron is about 5.0%. Calcium 3.6%. Sodium 2.8%. Potassium 2.6%. And magnesium 2.1%. This completes the list of elements that accounts for approximately 98.5% of the total mass of the Earth's crust. In most cases, the first letter of the name of an element is taken in the capital letter as the symbol, while in some cases, when the first letter has already been used, then the initial letters in capital together with a small any other letter from its name are used. For example, in the boron, its symbol is B. It means the first capital letter is the symbol of boron. While in aluminium, A is the capital letter that has been already used. Now we have to use any small symbol, that is L. So Al is the symbol of aluminium. However, there are some symbols that starts with their Latin or Greek languages. For example, gold is derived from the Latin word aurum and its symbol is Au. Similarly, the lead is derived from the Latin word plumbum and its symbol is Pb. Elements and atoms. The smallest particle of an element that has the properties of that element is called an atom. Atoms are the building blocks of matter. Atoms of the same elements are alike. Atoms of different elements are. Now have a look at compound. What is a compound? A compound is a pure substance consists of two or more different types of elements chemically combine together in a fixed ratio by mass. In elements, you have studied that there is no physical or chemical changes happen by the combination of atoms, while a compound is made up of two or more different types of elements, and these elements combine chemically. For example, water. In water, there are two elements are involved, hydrogen and oxygen. They will chemically react with each other and form water. Most familiar compounds are table salt. Table salt is formed from sodium and chlorine. Water. Water is formed from hydrogen and oxygen element. Sugar. Sugar is formed from carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. As you know the formula of sugar, C12H22O11. Carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide involves carbon and oxygen, two atoms of oxygen and one atom of carbon. Baking soda. Sodium, hydrogen, carbon and oxygen atoms are involved. This is a familiar example of compound, that is table salt. Table salt is formed by the combination of sodium and chlorine. They both combine to form sodium chloride. Sodium is a soft silvery white metal that reacts violently with water. Chlorine is a poisonous greenish yellow gas. Sodium chloride, a table salt, is a white solid that dissolves easily in water and is safe to eat, as you have already salt in your houses. We have already studied that compounds can be broken down into simpler substances, either broken down into elements through chemical changes or undergo chemical changes and form simpler compounds. How can we derive the formula of compound? A formula shows the symbol of the elements of which compound is made and their combining ratio to each other. It means the elements that are involved in the formation of that particular compound and the ratio of that element, that how much of this element is used. For example, in caustic soda, we have a sodium element, an oxygen, and an hydrogen. Compounds cannot be broken down by physical changes. They can only be broken down with the help of chemical change. For example, water can be broken down to form elements, hydrogen and oxygen. Baking soda can be broken down to form sodium, hydrogen and carbonate. Now, this is the turn of mixture. What is a mixture? A mixture is made up of two or more substances that are not chemically combined. A mixture may consist of elements, compounds, or both. The components of a mixture are not in a fixed ratio. Mixture can be separated by physical methods, and the constituent substances of the mixture retain their characteristic properties in the mixture. This is an example of mixture of solids. In these examples, you can see that solid particles combine and form a mixture. This is an example of liquid. For example, when you put ink in water, ink is a liquid. Water is also a liquid. It makes a mixture. This is an example of mixture of gases, like perfumes, like oxygen gas, nitrogen. Let's take an example of the mixture. When sugar is dissolved in water, it forms a mixture which is sweet in taste, because sugar is the sweet. The sweetness is due to the presence of sugar in water. A widely used example of mixture is alloys, which consist of a mixture of metals. Alloys are formed by the mixture of metals. For example, copper and zinc are made from brass and bronze. Now have a look at types of mixture. Homogeneous mixture. A homogeneous mixture is one which has uniform composition throughout its mass. A homogeneous mixture is one which has uniform composition throughout its mass. For example, table salt. A heterogeneous mixture is one which does not have uniform composition throughout its mass. One part of the mixture having different compositions than the other. They do not have uniform composition or distribution of their components. For example, salad, dirt, sand, and water. You can look here that in heterogeneous mixture there is no uniform distribution of components. Here is an example. Can you classify these types of mixture either heterogeneous or homogeneous? In homogeneous, there is the same or uniform composition of the components, while in heterogeneous, there is non-uniform distribution. In first bowl of cereals, you cannot distinguish the components separately, while in grapefruits, you can distinguish the components. It means it has uniform distribution. Can you point out some differences between compound and a mixture? Let's have a look. Compound is formed by the chemical combination of atoms of the elements. Mixture is formed by the physical combination or mixing up of the elements. In compound, the constituents lose their original position and form a product, while in mixture, the constituents retains their properties. The compound has fixed composition by mass because we use equal number of reactants. In mixture does not have fixed composition by mass. They may have uniform or non-uniform distribution of their components. The components of the compound cannot be separated by physical method because this is the combination of elements by chemical method, so the components cannot be separated by the physical methods. While in mixture, the components of mixture can be separated by physical method. A compound is represented by its chemical formula because elements are chemically combined, while in mixture it consists of two or more components and does not have any chemical formula. A compound has homogeneous composition, while a mixture has homogeneous as well as heterogeneous in composition. Thank you so much.